This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nick Rolfe, and on today's show, we have two trades to talk about for the Miami Heat, because Bleacher Report dropped an article suggesting trades for every team in the NBA, and obviously they had one for Miami, but there was one for the Houston Rockets that got them Jimmy Butler, which I did want to talk about as well. But the first trade is going to be just about Miami, and it's only a draft trade. No players involved, which is a little bit of a intriguing one because I don't think Miami would do this. But in this hypothetical deal that Bleacher Report out, they make a deal with the New York Knicks. The Heat get picks 24 and 25 because New York does have consecutive first rounders, their own, and then from the Dallas Mavericks. And the Knicks get 15 in the 2026 second round pick Miami has via the Los Angeles Lakers. So in this hypothetical deal, Miami moves back 9 spots in the first round, but picks up another pick as well. They have pick 24 and 25, and they could make multiple additions to this roster. Now, there is only one real reason why they would actually do this trade, and it's in the world that they know Haywood Highsmith is gone in free agency, and they would know Caleb Martin is gone in free agency. And with the Heat system, they know they can develop, right? And when you think about what the Heat do have going for them in the future with their roster, they're going to need to add some pieces. They're in the first apron of the luxury tax. They don't have a lot of room to add free agents or retain free agents in free agency. So if they do lose both Caleb Martin and Haywood Highsmith, they keep Jimmy Butler. Say they extend him. Well, then how are they going to have money to upgrade this roster? Well, doing this trade with the New York Knicks to get a second first-round pick might be the best way to do that, because now you will get 2 first-rounders that you can add to this roster. So if they did make that deal and they're picking at 24 or 25, who are some of the prospects they could look at? Now, I have been against Zach Edey for a long time. You guys know that. Pick 24-25, I could be convinced on Zach Edey because you're now getting him alongside another first-round pick. Tyler Smith, a forward from the G League, could be an intriguing prospect. Jalen Tyson out of California, who has been compared very similar to Caleb Martin when he's coming out of college. He could be a pick as well. Really athletic 3-and-D wing who performed at a high level for Cal in the Pac-12 a year ago. Just some of the prospects, to name a few, that we could keep our eye out for. We're going to talk more prospects here in a second. But let me know, by the way, full trade details of that first trade. The Heat get picks 24 and 25. They give up 15 and a 2026 second-round pick via the Lakers. Would you do that trade? Yes or no? Let me know down below. I don't know if I'm making that deal, if I'm going to be honest. I think I like who I can get at 15, because the more I see this draft shaking up and the more I see prospects sliding, staying put, rising, I believe Miami will get to choose at that 15th overall pick in the first round between a Kel'el Ware, a Jared McCain, an Isaiah Collier. And I think those 3 would just be terrific selections for the Heat. A couple of those guys give team needs. Where would be that versatile big man that can play inside offensively but can space the floor as well, shooting 42% on 1 3-point attempt last season for the Hoosiers. Or you could go with the McCain type that has the upside to be a Klay Thompson-esque player, flying off pin down, screens, quick release, can shoot the shit out of the basketball. Shot 43% from beyond the arc on 4+ attempts for Duke last season. Like Jared McCain would be a great addition off the bench for Miami. Or like the other player I mentioned, Isaiah Collier, the 6'3", 6'4" guard who is super physical, great first step, can get downhill, score at the rim, one of the best finishers around the rim in this entire draft class. He needs to work on his spacing, but would be a good pick-and-roll threat with Bam Adebayo either getting to the rack or giving a little dish pass. There's a lot to like about a potential trade back to acquire 2 first-round picks so you can build through the roster through the draft more and mitigate the losses of Highsmith and Caleb Martin. But if it's me, I'm probably staying put at 15 and taking the better prospect that you can. Jimmy Butler trade coming up in just a second, but we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app on the market. More than 5 million members play Prize Picks on a daily basis, so what are you waiting for? And you get a first deposit match up to $100 when you download the app and use code CLNS. You can play the NBA Finals. You can go to the eSports League as well, League of Legends, Call of Duty, MLB's rolling on, NHL. You can even look forward to the NFL season, which is what I did. More than on Tua Tagovailoa, 27.5 passing touchdowns. And if he does that, you'd probably have to assume Tyreek Hill gets more than 9.5, right? I do. So that's a 2-player entry to get 3 times my money. But you can turn 10 into 1,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, by just playing your favorite sports in a single game entry right now on Prize Picks. Daily promotions as well as flash deals and the whole 9 yards. So download the app and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Or go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. That link will be in the description and comments of today's video to get a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. Prize Picks, that simple. All right, here's the Jimmy Butler trade idea now, and I've been very adamant about this. I am not trading Jimmy Butler this offseason. If I had to choose one outcome to have for Jimmy, whether it be stay and don't extend him, or trade him, I'm choosing the extension because I want this guy to retire a Miami Heat player, and I want him to have a chance to win a ring in Miami. But here is the trade from Bleacher Report that would net the Heat some young assets and give Butler to Houston. The Rockets receive Jimmy Butler in the 15th overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft. The Heat get Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and the 3rd overall pick. So you move up 12 spots in this draft, but also get Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks in return. There's a couple reasons why this trade intrigues me. I'm probably declining that deal, by the way. I think there's just more out there that you can get for Jimmy Butler. Jalen Green is a decent young player. He averaged, I think, about 20 points a game this season, really came on as of late in that season. He was balling out in the last 2 months of the year. Super athletic, high upside, but to me, he's just similar to Tyler Hero. He's just a more athletic Tyler Hero that plays, I wouldn't say bad brand of basketball, but an inefficient brand of basketball. He scores off volume. He doesn't score off efficiency, but Green is much better at creating more looks for himself in isolation settings due to his quickness and ability to finish at the rim because he is so athletically gifted. Now, that is a young player that you can try to build your backcourt around in a Bam Adebayo pick and roll, potentially, but I'm just not that big of a Jalen Green guy. Dillon Brooks is a nice connecting piece. I just don't think I want that experience in Miami, if I'm going to be honest. He fits the culture, defense, hard-nosed, not going to back down from anyone, but I just don't think I can handle Dillon Brooks on my team. It's just so infuriating to see some of the antics he puts out there. The most intriguing part of this potential trade where you give away Butler is moving up from 15 to 3 in the first round, because you get the 3rd overall pick. That would put you in a very advantageous position to add a highly touted prospect. Alex Sarr, Zachary Reese-Shea are probably the top 2 picks, which should give you the pick of the litter. You could go Reed Shepherd from Kentucky, who I am a massive fan of. You can go Stephon Castle from UConn, who wants to be a point guard in the NBA, and he looks to be a really good prospect. You can lock up Nikola Topic and just build towards the future, even though he's got a torn ACL. I wouldn't hate that pick if you were selecting at number 3. You could also take Donovan Clingan. I don't know if I would trust Bam and Clingan to play together, but you would get that center that can just absolutely protect the rim and dominate inside with size. You can go with Dalton Knecht too at 3. I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world to go there if you wanted to. It would give you a lot of different ways to build out your roster in the future. And hypothetically, if you did make that trade with the Houston Rockets, you can also parlay some of those assets to Cleveland to get Donovan Mitchell, which is another avenue Pat Riley could look to go down. There's a lot of different moving parts that we're going to see in this offseason, but to me, I'm keeping Jimmy Butler. I don't want to trade him, but let me know if you would trade Jimmy Butler down in the comments section. I'm keeping him. I want him to be a Heat lifer, but maybe you have different thoughts. I know some of you would deal him over and out to Cleveland for Mitchell, but I wouldn't do that. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Didn't have a lot of time, but wanted to come up and give you some talk and just explore some trade ideas for the Miami Heat this offseason. If you want more coverage on the Miami Heat, follow me at Twitter at Nick_Roloff. I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Heat.